from the beginning when you started this project, did you always had Armie and Johnny in mind for the main characters?
I knew, I talked to Johnny about playing Tonto way as far back as 2006. And then when I really started working on the screenplay in 2010 with Justin Haith, I had no idea who to cast as the Lone Ranger. We sort of wrote it for Jimmy Stewart or some Gary Cooper, somebody that's sort of out of time, and it became a challenge then casting because they don't exist anymore, those characters. And Armie came in and read for the part, and there's something very classic about his approach to acting, and I think also because he wasn't really raised in Hollywood. He's not cynical or jaded or anything. So we needed a Lone Ranger who really believed in these noble ideas, and then he has to kind of painfully reconcile that with them.
Apart from Johnny, I mean, there's Jerry in the back, there's Gore behind the camera. Did they put any pressure on you? Was it intimidating at some point?
They didn't. No, there was never any pressure from them. They were the most inviting and welcoming people I've ever dealt with. It would have been very easy for them, having done so many movies together, to be like, look, this is our group, you figure your own thing out. But, I mean, to use a metaphor, it was like on the first day of school, being invited to sit at the coolest kid's lunch table, and then being like, how are you, what's going on, and generally interested. So it felt very inclusionary. They were very open. Any bit of nerves or any sort of anticipation I put on myself just because I wanted to make them happy.
For us in Germany, the Lone Ranger is not that special, but in America it is.
Yeah.
So how is it for you being now the Lone Ranger?
In Germany, not that special, but in America, very special.
I mean, is it something, I know, as a kid you maybe watched the TV, watched it on TV?
Not really. The Lone Ranger is a big part of the American pop lexicon. Just everybody kind of knows who the Lone Ranger is. Kids my age, though, if you said, who's the Lone Ranger? They'd go, oh, Lone Ranger, yeah. Like, there's not like a specific knowledge of the Lone Ranger.
And do you still remember the first day on set when you just arrived? There's Johnny, there's Gore, probably Jerry there. How was that the first day?
Yeah, the first day we had a read-through, and all the producers were there. It was the first time you're already meeting everyone in that environment. And we were all waiting to do the read-through, and Johnny turns up in full Tonto makeup. And I remember just sort of thinking, this is so Hollywood. But it was brilliant. It was a really exciting day. And it felt, I love the start of movies. It's always a very thrilling start of an adventure. You're about to jump on board.
So you could have done a lot of it in CGI, you could have done a lot of it in computer, but you decided to really build and to really make props and just, why did you?
I think it was, the narrative as we were working on the screenplay it became apparent that it was going to be inherently sort of operatic. I mean, just the idea that it's told from Tonto's perspective, and that we're going to have this untrustworthy narrator, and then we're going to unfold this tale. And it was just one of my concerns early on is that can become theatrical or artificial somehow. If you certainly didn't want the sense that this landscape is a painting, it's the real landscape. It was important that we go there and that it became real, and I think it informs how actors behave. You behave differently if you're on a real train at 40 miles an hour, and the horses are really there, and so it was important that it felt honest, and I think we just set out to make it the old-fashioned way.
And what was maybe, let's say, special horse riding? I don't know, the makeup. What was not that easy, so to speak?
Oh, the most difficult thing? It was probably the stunts. Not like, I mean, some of them were very, I mean, I had to jump off of a two-story building and land on a horse that was already running. That was difficult, obviously, and also very physically painful, but it never, ever felt hard at any point in the movie. It always just felt fun. I'm thinking in my head, yeah, this really hurts, and when I miss, I hit the ground, and that really hurts, but at the same time, when am I ever gonna get to jump on a moving horse again? Like, I gotta enjoy this.
But these days would have been a time where, women wouldn't have much to say or much to do if there's no husband around. So she's a really tough one in the end. So it's really what.
Well, it was vital for me that was the case, that we had to serve, and I didn't want her to be a damsel in distress and a typical Western stereotype. So I spoke to Gore and Justin, who was the writer, and just said, can she fight back? I want her to fight back more, and they wanted that anyway. It was kind of very much going to be part of her role, that she wasn't going to just be, a walkover. She was going to stand up to these men and protect her son. And by the end, you see that she is an independent woman that can survive on her own. So she enables the Lone Ranger to go off and do his job, because she's going to be a survivor and she'll be fine.
Don't you think it should have been named Tonto and Lone Ranger?
Well, that's another way of looking at it, but we call it the Lone Ranger because that's based on the series. And it's the origin story of the Lone Ranger. That we took that from the original radio show, which started in 1933. From my hometown, Detroit, is where it originated.